everyone's talking about AI, burnout, and maybe even layoffs, but no one's talking about how it's actually pushing us into the next version. Reinvention isn't optional anymore. It's survival with a purpose. Let's talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey, everybody. I thank y'all very much for listening. We are coming to the close of a fantastic year for ourselves in podcasting. So here's the thing. Right now is a time where we are in the age of reinvention. Maurice, what do you mean by that? There's a lot of things going on where we look at the job market, it's a little tighter. Education, you can get it in more than one way than the traditional way, which might have been the university college route. We're looking at things on how people are being trained, whether it's in the trades, where you can learn some things, whether it's online, but you also need hands-on experiences. But there are some hybrid options to do those type of things. And so right now, the way things are going, it is not wise to play it safe. And that is probably the riskiest move that you can make at this present time. Because as we continue to play it safe, unfortunately, we put ourselves in a position to not grow, to not evolve, and not to stay up to date with whatever else is going on in the world. So I want you to understand that today you need to start thinking about or considering pivoting on an idea, a tradition, a thinking, if you will. Because I want you to understand that every pivot starts with unlearning certain things. We need to understand that we have to unlearn certain behaviors because those behaviors will not serve us in the best light moving forward. If you're not understanding how AI has been woven into our everyday lives, not just recently, but for quite a while, it's just that we're putting a name to it now. It's just that we're looking at it from a different lens, and it's probably pushed in our faces a little bit more. But we have to understand that we have to unlearn and to pivot where we need to, especially if we want to keep up with our jobs. If we need to keep up with the industry that we're working in or that we are a vendor for, or whatever it is, we need to understand how these things are working, whether it's for us or what we could feel like is against us. There are some things we need to unlearn, some ideas or traditions we need to unlearn. So I encourage you to really consider that we need to investigate, we need to learn, we need to train in a different manner. See, when I grew up, all we really were pushed to do was to go to college / a university, depending on where you are in the world. It's either college or university. And then what happened is and here is something that I did not know, that there were, until I was out of high school, because if you know my story, you know that I didn't go straight to college right out of high school. I started working in corporate America. I was working for a behavioral health insurance company. And so I was able to learn rather quickly, in a corporate America position or state or space. But I learned in that environment that there was more than one way to learn educationally. Everyone did not have a degree. Everyone did not rely on training that the job provided. No. What I learned overall, that there were, at that particular time, there were quite a few temp agencies, and those temp agencies tested you on typing, your computer skills, or whatever it is. Trust me, I know, because I went through a few temp agencies. If those of you who might remember Stivers or Protocol, whatever it is, depending on where you are. Even Kelly Services, I believe, at one time I was with Kelly as well. And so what happens is that I was learning how to do some of these business or develop these business skills or improve these business skills. But there is something else that I learned as well, that there were actual business schools that taught individuals business practices. It was just a form of training that was not provided to me or was given to me as an option while I was in high school or growing up. What I learned later on is that these type of schools had allowed or provided opportunities for individuals to say, you know what, I'm going to go into this business environment, and we are now going to, could be promotable a little bit. Maybe, when I say promotable, meaning, all right, now you could be a team leader, maybe a supervisor or whatever. There were some jobs that still wanted you to have formal training to become, maybe a manager, director, so forth and so on. But there have been people who have utilized that training to get further along than what others may consider an opportunity for them. You have to have the right charisma, know how to work the systems or whatever it is in that organization and utilize that to your best ability. And so in this situation, I need you to ask yourself, what story will people tell about you in your next chapter? Because we need to start considering things and looking at things from a different lens. Again, technology is changing, is evolving. Social media is changing, is evolving. Our cars, our washer and dryers, it's basic things, basic ways of life that are changing and evolving. So I would like for you to consider, what is that next step? What is that next step? And when you look at that next step, understand what is the next step after that. Start to look at that as well. I need you to, as I stated, we're starting to wind down a little bit in for this year. We need to reinvent ourselves when it comes to this podcast next year. And we need to take the time, just like anybody else. Maybe you need to just pull back for a second and say, you know what? It's time for me to buckle down and make things happen. I would like for you to share this episode with anyone who's been saying, I'll do it next year. Because guess what? Next year could be too late. And I want you to understand that now is the time. Now is the time to start writing that next chapter. I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?